Good afternoon to all the friends, foes, minor acquaintances, complete strangers, secret admirers, and everybody in between. Welcome one, welcome all to a new Nascondere mythic, thematic, symbolic analysis video. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I'm sorry, it's been something that my brain hasn't been able to, how would you say, not pump out, but just do very well. So, regardless, I do have a topic for today that we're going to discuss that I think has is going to get me all juiced up and in the mindset that I need to work myself into. So, this is going to cover the ancient realm of Soddisfare. Now, this is again from my D&D campaign. However, a lot of this symbolic analysis ties into real world symbols and stuff like that. So, if you're not part of my D&D game, then I guess I don't know why you're watching, but stay tuned because there's some interesting stuff we'll talk about today. So I'll have some pictures that I'll kind of put up to the side, as I go, and that I'll put up in post editing to make it, an enriching experience. But basically, we're going to cover the realm of Soddisfare today. Now, this is a place we've not been to in the campaign in real IRL months. It's kind of was a side arc that, kind of got, the players went to for, I think, 1 or 2 sessions. And it's this, what do you call it? This very malevolent place. So first we'll talk about the symbolism of, how would you say, the getting there, some of the influences, and everything like that. So I apologize if I'm a little all over the place. I did put down a little tiny script, but it's not very, well thought out or anything. This is, again, just me trying to get back into this mindset. Although I feel like I've been there. It's just, I don't know. D&D has been hard for me for these past few months. But, anyways, so to Soddisfare. Now, originally it was kind of indicated that it was this faraway realm, right? So I've talked about Nascondere being like this, basically each city being like a planet in a great cosmic black ocean, right? Giving the vibe of space, and each little syndicate or city being like its own little planet, right? In that vast black space. So Soddisfare, to me, when creating it originally, I wanted it to be this kind of exoplanet, this hidden world, that's out there in the shadows, that's there, but the players don't know about, right? Because the players think they know the whole solar system, but then they go out and they find more. So that was Soddisfare. Now, like, look, I'm sorry, I'll be all over the place, but some of the influences we'll go over. They're gonna be Lovecraft, hands. We'll talk about hands a lot. We'll talk about Pokemon. We'll talk about Lord of the Rings, Dark Souls, and because all that Norse mythology as well. As well, let's see what else I got. That's pretty much it. So, anyways, and just bodily stuff. So, with hands and whatever. So, Soddisfare is, like I said, this red planet, far off and far away from the rest of the solar system of Nascondere. And basically, when the players learn about it, they learn about it through some eldritch text, right? This being some encyclopedia, but cool one at that, an old aged encyclopedia. But I use this as my stand-in book that I show for everything. What do we got? India, Japan, some insects. Anyways, I have lots of these, but besides the point, they find some eldritch text, right? And that indicates to them the realm of Soddisfare. In fact, they've been teased by a campaign villain or lieutenant that they need to go to Soddisfare, basically, to recover what I call the Hand of Valerius, right? A powerful magical artifact that is necessary for them in order to open the Black Gate. One of the components. Now, this is just the strict, D&D kind of, what do you say, campaign design. But that's what the Hand of Valerius is said to do, right? As this hand of a dead demigod of destruction. Now, what do you call it? With that, the players, when traversing to Soddisfare, do it a lot quicker than I imagined them to do, but that's okay. But they basically go beyond this kind of asteroid belt, literal snowy mountains, right, in this black ocean, snowy mountain peaks rising above a black ocean. This is analogous, I guess, like I said, to an asteroid belt. However, I mentioned Lovecraft, right? Eldritch knowledge, and them getting to Soddisfare. So, in a sense, I had based a lot of Soddisfare off the idea of Beyond the Mountains of Madness, right? So, in Beyond the Mountains of Madness, there are creatures named Elder Things who live there, who live beyond the Mountains of Madness, and they're these creatures pictured here with stars kind of as faces and bodies kind of like vegetable-ish. I don't know how to explain it. They're very fungal looking, right? And then they got these nasty little tentacles that they use as legs, and they got wings, they fly, they're very horrid here. See here. So basically the staging of Soddisfare is already beyond the mountains, right? This floating asteroid belt, going beyond the Mountains of Madness to this strange world off in the distance. Now, this will be all over the place, I apologize. I'm trying to go in chronological order of, I guess, the players getting there and all the, symbolism we see. So when they get to Soddisfare, when they kind of scout it out for the first time, they're told that basically there in Soddisfare there'll be the caves of Ymir, that they'll find Sisyphus, right? And that upon the top of a great black tree, they will fight for the item that they covet, right? The Hand of Valerius. And so, when they get to Soddisfare, they see this. They kind of bust right through the walls and they start in the caves, right down below. And these dark passages where glinting red minerals kind of shimmer with light. The walls shake, crumble with thunder. Dust falls down. And here it is very, I don't want to say cold, but it's alien, right? It's strange. They've never been to a place like this in the setting at all. And immediately they see workers, right? They see these workers who kind of wear these sort of like astronaut suits, if you will. And they're slaving away at, just mining. When the players try to interact with them, they quickly realize they cannot communicate with these people at all because their language is so garbled. They're speaking through this kind of vocoder, if you will, and it just comes out as garbled mess, right? So these astronaut workers are there. However, down here in these caves, they do find a wolfman, and his name is Fenrir. And he kind of tells himself to the players that he's a former slave who's free from the masters who live above. and that the workers down here are slaves. And he says that he woke up one day no longer being enslaved, but he finds himself in this precarious state of, how would you say, pessimism or nihilism, where nothing matters, it's all pointless, and we can't overcome their control. So we can already see the beginning frameworks of Norse symbolism and all the stuff I had told the players going before, right? So when we talk about the caves of Mimir, right, I told the players they're in the caves, right? And in the caves of Ymir, this is where one accumulates knowledge, or Odin goes down to drink from the fountain, or I think he loses an eye to, drink. But they're told they're going to find Sisyphus here. Sisyphus is a character everyone knows pushes a boulder up the hill, endlessly cursed to do so. So, and Fenrir obviously is a very Norse mythic character. In Ragnarok, it is said that Fenrir is often a chained and bound creature, right? Who, once those bounds and binds come off, Ragnarok begins, right? So, the Wolfman, Fenrir. And, honestly, I tried to make him kind of seem like Blide from Elden Ring. Some more kind of mythic figures. He's the Sisyphus character here, right? He's a character who is free, but is eternally mindset-wise still in slavery, right? Believes there's no overcoming, believes that there's nothing they can do to overcome the masters above. So it becomes quickly clear that the masters are these elder things, and that these workers, these little astronauts, eventually they meet one who comes to them and is able to speak. Now, it's funny because he kind of presents himself as Sigurd, sort of, from Dark Souls, kind of comes up an elevator. And he leads them to basically kind of a colony inside the tunnels of Soddisfare, where there's a little town called Yggdrasil down there, or Yggdrasil, whatever. I just thought that was funny sounding. But there, it's basically Blighttown, right? And they realize that these astronauts, that these workers, like this guy right here, I forgot what they named him. They named him something, so I didn't have a name for him. And they realize that, when you think about an astronaut, right, you see this cool suit, and then their helmet is black, right? I got a moth flying in front of me, I don't know why. So, now in Call of Cthulhu / Lovecraftian myth, the Elder Things have a created race of slaves. It's like a slave race called Shoggoths, right? Or their slave race. And in the mythos, they often rebel against the Elder Things' authority. So, we see the seedlings planted everywhere about class politics and as well as mythic kind of revolution, right? They find out that these astronauts are Shoggoths. That it's black sludge pumped into their white suit bodies, and that's why their face mask is black, because it's all black sludge underneath. That's why they have the garbled language. It's all lost. Now, hold on. Notice here, garbled language, right? So this will become something we can talk about in a little bit, right? So, basically, they fight these Elder Things. Now, notice here that look at a picture of an Elder Thing, right? Horrifying, ghastly creature. We notice a star, like a hand, right, on the top of their body. Their trunk, like what do you call it? Frame, and then below all the what do you call it? Their tentacles, which are like roots, right? So we see tree symbolism already in these creatures' design, right? Because these can also, the star hand can also be, what do you call it? The sort of branches from a trunk, right? From a tree trunk. So, in a way, a symbolic elder thing is a tree hand analog. Oh, I'm sorry. And stars. So, this is important because now, after they reach the surface of Soddisfare, they find the city, right? It's this demented red world, black stone, with a black tower rising, a sole black tower rising in the air, and electricity and red lightning crackling everywhere. And it's very eerie and ominous. Now, they know that the hand of Valerius will be at the top of the tower, right? And it's just a normal tower. It's not this branching tree or anything. They've told us to be up top of a black tree. Well, the tower is a tree, right? Because the hands at the top of it, the fingers are the branches, right? And then the caves are the roots below, right? So the tower itself is a tree. So this Axis Mundi kind of dark Yggdrasil black tree kind of more Norse stuff, right? So the players get, you know, Fenrir to finally tag along with all these Shoggoth workers. They kind of stage a worker rebellion underneath, worker-slave rebellion, and start manufacturing them to go to war up on the surface. Kind of crazy. But this is kind of mythic of Ragnarok, right? They finally free Fenrir of his mental kind of blockage, and Ragnarok has begun, which, what do you call it? So in a way, this is like Asgard, right? Soddisfare is the town, the city itself. But it's Isengard too. Isengard too, because the symbol for Isengard is the white hand of Saruman, right? We got more hand symbolism here. Isengard too, because it's a powerful wizard or tower, which creates a slave race below the Uruk-hai, right? So the Shoggoths and the Uruk-hai are kind of synonymous and analogous here. Now, that's really interesting and cool. And wow, I blew through a lot, but that's basically the gist. And so now, the tower, right, is like a tree because the hand's on the top. Also, because the lightning that crackles all around it is like the trunk, or the branches as well. The lightning that crackles around it also evokes tentacles, right? Because it evokes more Lovecraftian mythos. It also evokes the Tower Tarot, right? Lightning around the top of a tower, which strikes, there's the tarot of the tower. Two people falling had two players, and honestly, what's crazy is when we played Soddisfare, when they got the D&D game, when they got to Soddisfare the first time, when they kind of flew and sped there at the speed of light, I drew a tarot card and I drew the tower. Whenever they smashed into the atmosphere of Soddisfare, they crashed into the cave. So it was like the striking of lightning on the tower and the two people falling down below into the caves. That was kind of that. But this is we see this is all over Soddisfare, right? The imagery, and I'll put some up. So lightning atop the tower signifies disaster, the great battle that they're going to have with a person whose name, the lieutenant of their demon that they've come to fight. And this lieutenant, his name is Gilgamesh. So now Babylonian kind of talk, right? So now we have this black tree, right? Now remember, we've already talked about tree imagery before with the Garden of Eden, right? And the lovers and stuff like that. And tarot. I'm trying to find the lovers card. right? We've talked about the Lover's card and the two trees in the Garden of Eden, right? We've talked about before in one of the Sabrina videos, someone named Mr. White Tree. Now we have a black tree, right? Dark, death, and evil. The Clippeth, right? More elder thing, kind of, you know, dark and evil. But also, if we think Eden, when the two trees, what do you call it? That has to deal with the tree of life, and then also the tree of knowledge and good and evil, right? The one that the man takes a bite of and was never supposed to take a bite of, which is considered evil, the apple, right? So, there's that as well. So, I'd mentioned kind of Isengard. I think that's really interesting that Isengard is a one of my favorite places. Growing up, I loved the Two Towers. It was my favorite Lord of the Rings movie, and Saruman. I always loved him. I guess his whole vibe was very cool. Everyone knows I'm a big diesel punk head. So his kind of industry, even though it's obviously evil, and I'm not a, you know, industrialist, you know, I'm an environmentalist, I still like that in my villainous factions. They're, you know, so that inspires Soddisfare a lot. So I kind of bypassed Pokemon a little bit because this goes into all sorts of dangerous, how would you say, opens a whole new door of things to talk about. Now, before we go there, though, let's talk about two things. Their encounter with Gilgamesh atop the tower of Soddisfare. Now, I had mentioned earlier, right? I had said something earlier about the garbled speech of the Shoggoths below, right? And now we have a character who is from Babylonian mythos going up a tower. Well, doesn't that also bring us to the Tower of Babel, right? The so the diffusion of language and the, you know, garbling of language also kind of gets symbolized here, because we have this tower which is reaching upwards, because there's a hand at the top, right? Because it's an arm, it's reaching upwards into heaven, but heaven strikes it down, right? So, oh my gosh, sorry, I was cooking a little bit here, because remember, the tower is like an arm because there's a hand at the top, the hand of Valerius, which they've come to capture, right? And so now, as they get to the top, they fight this mythic hero named Gilgamesh, this demonic lieutenant. And up there, he has the hand of Valerius already on him. He stitched it to his body, and he uses it to fight the players. And he's kind of like this Godric the Grafted type of fight, right? This is the, you know, more Elden Ring here, because Godric the Grafted, right, puts a dragon. He's got all these arms and hands attached to him, you know, and Gilgamesh has this demonic necromancer hand attached to him, which also functions as it's burning him alive, because he cuts it off like Godric cuts off his arm and puts on a dragon, right? And so I guess there's more symbolism we can talk about here. So the hand, right, is a 7-fingered hand, right? I did a little art of it, so here's the hand of Valerius here. So the hand of Valerius has 7 fingers, or the 7 colors of the rainbow, right? So this is also the Bifrost, right? Because the rainbow is the Bifrost, and some more Norse. So the tree is like Yggdrasil, and the top is the Bifrost, and right? So, okay, Noah. So what else? So they encounter him at the top and defeat him in a very, very, very hard fight that is supposed to indicate this hand of Valerius is not to be trifled with. Even this powerful wielder is burning alive at the seams just using it, right? it's a lot of energy, right? 7 colors of magic, the 7-colored star. Anyways, so that's the Hand of Valerius, and the Bifrost atop this Axis Mundi Yggdrasil. So let's go to, I think we've covered most of the, like, on the surface read of everything. So now we can talk about, what is it? I'm going to mispronounce some words, so I apologize. But we're going to talk next about Pokemon. Now, I had mentioned Yuggothar, this little mining colony town that was in the tunnels, right, of Soddisfare. Blighttown, basically. And there they encounter this kind of, I don't want to say church. These ancient, alien glyphs, ruins of sorts. They go there with one of their astronaut buddies, the Shoggoth buddies. I forget what they named him. And Fenrir. And they basically get kind of like the lore of Soddisfare, if you will. This is kind of the mythic story of Soddisfare. Now, it ties heavily into the mythic story of Nascondere as well. And also into the Sinnoh Pokemon creation trio from Pokemon Diamond, Platinum, or Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, right? So, basically, they're told that there are 2 opposing forces. There is the infinite, and then there's the adversary, right? This is supposed to evoke Arceus versus Giratina, right? In the infinite and the adverse, in the infinite is a dragon, this kind of lionic dragon with 2 other 3-headed dragon, and so the 2 dragons on the side are supposed to basically insinuate time and space, right? Dialga-Palkia. But they're all part of the infinite, right? And below, there's the adversary, who's at the bottom of the tree. Now, this evokes, I guess, this serpent that circles the roots of the tree, right, of Yggdrasil, which is Nidhogger, in Norse myth. I hope I pronounced that right. And also a serpent at the roots of the tree, because it's not a snake that is depicted, it's a centipede that's depicted. Centipede is a creature that burrows, often associated with burrowing and underground, right? Or dirt and soil. And dirt and soil, the Shoggoths, like this black and mud, so underneath, right, this all kind of ties together. And so they get posed as, many times, there's this kind of philosophic musing before they reach the surface and rebel, of who the players are the prophets of. These Soddisfare, Fenrir kind of muses about who serves the infinite and who serves the adversary, right? This white and black kind of dichotomy. We'll see white and black become, come up all through the D&D campaign, but it comes up here in this moment, and in later videos we'll probably talk about white and black and stuff like that, black and white and the after images and color retention. That's besides the point right now. The point is mused who the players are the how would you say, the apostles or prophets of, right? Are they the and who do the masters, these elder things who rule Soddisfare, who do they serve, right? And it is mused because do they serve the infinite, because their control over Soddisfare is infinite, right? This religious order, or are they the adversary because to the people who below, they are adversarial, right? It's all a matter of perspective here, because they could be said to be like the infinite, like the white, because their control is infinite over the whole world. But they're also the adversary, black, dark, evil, you know, and maligned, and who those below want to fight. But they're also like white, because white also is synonymous with purity and order, and the Shoggoths below are black, because, you know, Shoggoths are black creatures and represent the dirt, the mud, and the dark sludge underneath. But they also have the revolutionary fervor in them, so they look evil, but they also are opposed to order and everything like that. So there's kind of this, again, it's matter of perspective kind of thing, right? Of good and evil. Is white evil or black evil? Or is white good or black good, right? So there's this kind of dichotomy going on here. I don't know if dichotomy is the right term, but dualism, or yin yang shit, you know. And so the players, like I said, they get posed as well, they're prophets of the adversary, because they are opposing the infinite order, right? Or are they opposing, or are they against the darkness rising the good above from below? Ultimately, they are stylized more as the prophets of the adversary, of this centipede-like creature which circles and gnaws at the roots of the world tree, of this axis mundi. Now, we talked about Sinnoh, right? There's the three, creation, and then the one below, right? So now it's like this fourth kind of this little diamond, and basically, we've seen a lot of centipede symbolism everywhere, and we'll probably talk about that in a future video. Centipede symbolism and other characters and stuff like that. But centipede symbolism comes up a lot, and so now it should be a red flag to the players, right? That basically, hey, you know, boom, you know, shove in your face, there's a centipede, like mythic thing being shown here as antithetical to the infinite, right? The infinite, who has control over space and time. Space and time are its subordinates, Dialga and Palkia, in a sense, right? These two dragons. But there's this one below who is basically aimed as, you know, contrary or rising, right? Because now, when we think of a serpent in trees, right, we can also think of, you know, I don't know if it's actually, it is on the card, the lovers. It's just my card to show, like, the Garden of Eden stuff. Serpents and trees, right? Serpent who climbs the tree, right? We see the serpent going up the tree, right? So then we can think the centipede, or this black snake, is going up the tree. When we think of going up the tree, we can also think of going up or reaching higher, the hand or the tower, right? Reaching higher to the fruit, right? The fruit upon the tree being knowledge and good and evil, or life, right? It's almost like reaching up into God. That's kind of some symbolism that we can mention here, because the infinite is supposed to be the infinite force, right? The creator of the universe, in a way, right? It's Arceus. It's this the source and origin of all things in the lore, right? So it is like God, in a way, like not a small G God, but capital G God. Shout out to capital G by Year Zero, by the way, or not by Nine Inch Nails on Year Zero album. Anyways. That had nothing to do with it, but the hand is also in Year Zero, and Nine Inch Nails, one of my favorite albums, is Year Zero, and the hand is the presence. That has, you know, that might have been a reason why I had a hand symbol, but that is so besides the point. So that's the that. Anyways, I think I pretty much whirlwinded through all of it. This is less mythic and a bit more pop culture, but in a way, pop culture has some mythic qualities to it as well. It's our modern age mythologies. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Sorry, I whirlwinded through that. I'm really liking the fact when I write stuff down, because it makes it to where I can kind of glance at all the points and know that I mentioned everything. I'll mention this too, actually, because I think it gets mentioned a lot, and it's growing in influence and mentioning this centipede demon also gets analogized with black flame versus white flame of the infinite, right? Black versus white again, but black and white flames also become something very, very much a growing theme upon the campaign. But we can tie the black and white flame to, I guess, like black and white flame in Elden Ring, or Dark Souls, the Soulsborne universe. But black and white flames, Pokemon Black and White, right? Or more Pokemon stuff we can talk about at a different time and place. Truth and ideals, right? So black flame, so black fire versus white fire, right? And now if we think cosmically, a white fire is like a star, so what's black fire, right? Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Info for later, maybe, right? So that's, or also, well, I don't want to reveal my whole hand, if you will. So that's all my D&D lore for today. So, thank you for tuning in for this very, how would you say, word salad, probably. Word salad of mythic kind of symbolism and visual analysis, stuff like that. So I hope you liked that. I know it didn't really dive too much into like themes or meanings of it. I just kind of blurted out symbols, but you can kind of basically see that this Soddisfare arc was kind of about the reaching upwards, right? Because that's something, the hand, the arm that reaches upwards towards the infinite, or this towards this godly source, the worldly below, or the worldly profane below, reaching up to authority, power, divinity. You see that with revolutionary kind of stuff. Also, yggdrasil, Ragnarok, right? Is whenever. Does yggdrasil burn in Ragnarok? I don't know, actually, to be honest, but off the top of my head. But I guess Asgard does. Asgard burns because Searcher burns Asgard. Searcher is also, I guess, very close in figure to Gilgamesh. Our Gilgamesh, not Babylonian Gilgamesh, obviously. But notice here, I'll wink to the players a little bit. One more thing. We have the Tower of Babel, and a Babylonian hero, and yeah, I won't say anymore. Anyways, so I want to draw a tarot card for today, so that's why I was shuffling my tarot deck. So let's do a little tarot reading for today and see what we get. So again, I apologize. It's been a long time since I've made a video. I just haven't been in the mindset of D&D for the past months, and it's been very tough to do that. But hopefully this is going to re-stim my brain and kind of help me out a little bit. So I'm wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt. This is one I got at the concert that I went to in October. The Peel It Back tour was very good. wearing this ring I bought. This ring actually helps me illustrate a lot. I love this ring. It's my favorite. I almost lost it the other day. I felt like, what do you call it? I felt like Bilbo Baggins, like, where's my ring? You know, I'm like, looking everywhere. My pockets is and stuff. My pocketses. There's a lot. You know what? Speaking of Lord of the Rings, you know, there's a lot of Lord of the Rings in my D&D game, and I didn't really realize that, you know. I didn't really realize that. I knew Isengard was a thing, but the Black Gate is also a Mordor, right? The entrance to Mordor is the Black Gate, right? So, anyways, that's random. It has nothing to do with the video, but it does have to do with our D&D cosmology stuff. All right, I'm about to draw a card. Sorry. I don't remember how long it's been since I've shuffled properly, so I don't know if you're technically supposed to shuffle them, but I do because, you know, look, it's my tarot deck. I can do what the fuck I want to do with it. So, let's draw a card. Let's draw. I usually like to draw. Here's how I do tarot. I like to draw 3 cards in the first major. When I do D&D, I usually just pull to the first major because they help me kind of just build upon how maybe I can improvise in the session. But traditionally, when I just pulled tarot on my own time, I like to pull 3 things loosely associated with past, present, future, and then a major that kind of typifies and characterizes it also. And I don't like to do upside down readings because it just complicates and muddies the water. Although sometimes I do, it just kind of depends, but right now I won't. And a lot of my cards are upside down, and the reason why I maybe stopped liking doing it is because I didn't know how to flip them. You know, do I just flip a few of them at a time, and then how many are actually flipped and upside down, I don't know. So that's why I kind of stopped doing upside down tarots. But something fell. So if something falls too, then I characterize that as a jumper, and that has some form of meaning, some way, I don't know. So let's pull our tarot. So our jumper today was the 2 of Wands. Okay, man looking upon his creation. I guess in a way that could be me. Or looking out at the world. And to be honest, I still kind of use this help guide because I don't know, especially a lot of the minor cards. I don't really know them off the top of my head. A tall man looks upon battle-mented roof over sea and shore. He holds a glove in right hand and staff in his left. Oh, we talked about hands and staff. Staff like a tower, right? Like a tree, and a hand as well. An orb in hand. Palantir. A rose and cross, and lily should also be noticed on the left side. Between the alternatives, there's one hand riches and fortune and magnificence, and the other physical suffering, disease, chagrin, sadness, and mortification. The design gives one suggestion. Here's a lord overlooking his dominion and alternatively contemplating a globe. In a way, it's me looking over all of Soddisfare, right? My creation. Interesting. All right, that's the jumper. Let's pull. You know what? I'll single now. I didn't rig it out. Let me, all right. We got the Queen of Wands. Look, the cute black cat. Okay. Again, I'm not very versed with most of the, what do you call it? The lesser arcana, the minor arcanas. A dark woman or countryman, friendly, chaste, loving, and honorable. The card beside her signifies a man. She is well disposed towards him. The Ace of Swords. Alright. I kind of know this one, but I'll just read it since I'm reading them all at this point, I guess. Triumph, an excessive degree in everything. Conquest, triumph, a card of great force and love as well as in hatred. Right? Strength. I drew this last time when I did my last video. the Lady and the Lion, Infinity. Right? Yeah. Okay, now we pull to our first major. Ooh, the Tower. Interesting. Something is coming. Disaster? Who knows? Change. I don't like this thing. The Tower is ruin. But adversity, calamity, potentially. Who knows? Sometimes I like to draw some more cards that kind of characterize, but I drew the Hanged Man first. And then the Eight of Swords, and then the World. And then the Six of Swords, and then the Ten of Cups. And the Wheel of Fortune. Alright, now you're muddying the water here. Interesting reading. I don't know what I take from it personally right now, but I think it's cool that I drew the Tower when I was talking about the Tower, right? That's cool. When we think about it too, you can look at all of our cards like a Soddisfare kind of pull. Right, we have a sword in the hand, right? A sword, tower in the hand, with the crown on top, the crown, the tower, right? Queen of Wands as a wand, a black cat, the black, darkness below that I talked about. And then the wands, more towers, and the world in hand. Strength of the infinite. Oh, we did mention that, so a lot of stuff we mentioned during Soddisfare. So, interesting pull. Let's pull one more thing. This will be for, how would you say, for you, my dear watcher, or watchers. This will be for you. A little pull for you. So, sorry, I did not put. I usually don't put my cards back in because I don't know. So I just keep pulling and pulling until I'm done. All right, let's do this one. Queen of Swords. This is for you, my watcher, whoever you are. This was telling you. I don't like that one. Maybe I should draw a different one. I'm joking. But this one says widowhood, female sadness, embarrassment, absence, sterility, mourning, privation, separation. Well. What's afterwards? The sun. So, if you're feeling horrid now, don't worry. The light of the sun will come through one day. So I just drew another one because I didn't want to end on a bad note. That felt kind of sad to do. The sun will rise again. So, for the sun, material happiness, fortunate marriage, and contentment. So, if you're feeling sad, the rain passes and the sun rises again someday. That's crazy. Sorry, I did. It'd be crazy. I'm like, here's a card for you, my reader. The Tower. You will be like, what the hell? I'm definitely not gonna try to send you out on a bad note. Like, my gosh, what are you doing, Noah? Okay. Well, that's enough tarot for now. I stalled for way much longer. This will be a fun video to edit it. So thank you for watching all the way to the end if you have. And hopefully this will give me in the mindset to either make more D&D content here or get me psyched and stoked for what's probably going to be the final season of our D&D campaign coming up. So to my players, that is that. I don't know how ready I feel for it, so I'm using this as my means of communication to you right now, that I still need time. I still need time to kind of get in the right headspace, and I've been doing pretty good this past month. I've been feeling a lot better. So, what do you call it? I'll be leaving now, I guess, and signing off. So, I got an engagement farm now. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and with a coworker, with I don't know, don't do that. That's it. That's all I got. So, until next time, see ya.